episode of Let's Talk Money with Friends. Every Wednesday, I have the privilege to come to you. I always say it doesn't matter if you're at home, at work, or in your car. I am so grateful that you take the time to listen, you take the time to be part of this show. And I also love it when some of my followers, they send me texts and WhatsApp messages. But what I would love the most is for you to like, share, and make a comment. So if you're watching the show tonight, like, share, and make a comment, and let your friends know that we have this great show that's on every Wednesday at 7, and we try to tackle topics that I believe truly that are relevant and timely. So tonight, it's definitely one of those nights because we have an awesome woman with us tonight. And she's someone that I've been seeing in the community. And a couple of weeks ago, we had an opportunity to have a great conversation. And I knew that I couldn't keep it to myself. When you have great news, you have to come and share with other people. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest tonight. The topic, as we've been saying, is like from miseducation to real education. And she's the one who came up with that title, from miseducation to real education. And it's a candid conversation with Marie Firmin. And she's here tonight. Let me give her an opportunity to introduce herself quickly, and we'll dive into our questions. Mary, welcome.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself. Let us know a little about you. And yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Marie Firmin, and I am a lifelong resident of Roxbury, Massachusetts. And of course, I have roots in Africa, Haiti, Cape Verde. I'm very mixed up.
No, you're awesome.
In a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive way. Because I met you in Jamaica Plain. We were at an event, and I actually remember I was about to leave. And my friend who was with me was like, "It's time to go, Gabrielle." I'm a chatter, so I'm like, okay, I gotta speak to at least 5 or 6 people at this event before I go home. So I was like, "You are the very last person that I went to."
Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice.
I know. Well, I know your sister Paula. I've known her for years. And I was like, so do you know what I did? My friend, she was like, I gotta go. I want to go. I said, it's a beautiful Saturday. Relax. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna introduce you to someone. So I brought her over to Paula, and your sister can, Miss Paula, she can talk. And then I was like, okay, since she's talking to Miss Paula, let me go ahead and have a conversation with Paula's sister. And that's how I ended up having a conversation with you. But it was a change it changed my perspective in my life, because I was like, oh, I didn't know this awesome woman existed here in Boston. And because Boston is still new to me. So I'm very happy that you're on the show tonight with me.
Thank you so much.
And the reason I was more excited about you, because anybody who knows me would say, Gabrielle, she's a lover of teachers. And I love teachers. So when I heard that you'd been a teacher and you still doing some teaching, we'll talk about that later on. But tell me, how long were you a teacher for in the school system? And also, what did you like most about teaching?
Well, you know what? I have always been a teacher. Since the days when I was a little girl, my mom would say, Marie, you should be a teacher. And when she said, Marie, you should be a teacher, I knew that that was my destiny. So I started right away when I was 13. My mother had a tutoring program.
Oh, wow.
And she said to me, you can tutor a first grader. And I said, I don't think so. I didn't get all A's in school. So I said, I don't think I could tutor this child. And she said, oh, just go on and do it. And she had tutors that came from Northeastern University. But she told me that I could tutor a first grader. And I took the first grader, and her parent told me that the first grader was not doing well in school. She was getting all F's.
Oh, wow.
And so I tutored her.
Mm.
And when I tutored her, she started to get all A's.
Wow.
I was so shocked. I had done nothing more than sit with her, talk to her, give her my attention, and she just blossomed. And then I knew that I was going to be a teacher. And
Wow.
I didn't want to be anything like the teachers I had because they did not give me that kind of attention.
Mm,
So I went on to study early child development.
mm.
Got my degree very, very early, got a master's degree early in early child development and started working in the field and just learning about children, learning about, you know, our lives. Because when you learn early child development, you are really learning about who you are. And
Correct.
so that's where my teaching career started. And then I got a position to train uh, juniors and seniors, well, freshmen, juniors, and seniors in early child development, in the early child development classroom. And I worked at Madison Park Vocational School. So
Wow.
that began my teaching career. And I was there for 19 years. And I actually taught early child development and entrepreneurship training, which was really new in the high schools back then when I was teaching. So that's how my
The
teaching
teaching.
life kind of blossomed.
Yeah, it's so funny when you say being a tutor. When I was in high school, I wanted to become a teacher because I too had been asked, but not by my parents, but by a teacher to tutor. I was good at math and I was doing very well at it. And my teacher came to me and said, Gabrielle, you're doing so well. And there's some of the other kids who are struggling. Could you help them? And I was like, okay, fine. And the same thing, the attention. But I remember coming here and having a hard time to understanding. And I sat with a teacher who was my science teacher, but she sat with me and showed me how to do the math. And like from one semester to the next, I was getting all A's because I just needed to understand what, you know, a professor, that other teacher wasn't willing to be that patient. And I think you're right, you know, being patient and really taking the time to give attention and love it, because sometimes that's all. Actually, that's sometimes all the time. That's all everybody's looking for. So I too, my students, you know, or my classmates, they all started getting great, you know, A's and great grades, and I was like, oh, maybe I should become a teacher. But you know, life happens. I did something else. But
Yes.
you know, Wednesday, I thank you for inviting me to your house on Monday. I was there for a minute. I was running, and I said, you know what, I gotta still come because I knew that you and Miss Paula wanted me to stop by to say hello. But when I was at your house on Monday, we talked about, you know, what's going on right now with the kids in the school system, and we were talking about self-esteem and self-worth. And we know earlier today I was seeing something online, and this young girl, unfortunately, who committed suicide because her classmates kept bullying her. And you know, a lot of what's happening right now on the news, they say like it's due to somewhat part of it. How do we help, you know, the conversation about self-esteem and self-worth? What do you think is so hard for kids to really build a self-esteem and self-worth? And what can we do as a society to help them so that they can become great students?
Great. You know, that was a question for me when I was teaching because I knew that I didn't want to be like the teachers that I had.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't encouraging. They were often racist.
Mm,
They pitted children against each other in the classroom for not having a particular skill, maybe for not being able to be all that they could be because of, you know, situations that may have happened at home. The whole idea of reality-based
mm,
teaching. And
correct.
what is reality-based teaching? Reality-based teaching really causes the teacher to develop their self-esteem, to
Mm,
develop their knowledge, to look outside of the classroom to see other ways that their subject matter can be taught,
mm,
and to make it real for the students in the classroom. You know, you've got to find out what's going on, what people are saying about what's going on at the time that you're teaching. That is very important. You have to have a really high self-esteem yourself in order to give a high self-esteem. You've got to recognize who you are. You know, like I introduced myself as, you know, a resident of Roxbury, who has a legacy in Africa, in Haiti, in New Orleans, in Cape Verde. You know, I come from all those places, so I've studied those places and I understand, you know, those places. I'm not afraid to talk about that.
Correct.
And when you're not afraid to talk about things, then the kids interpret that as love.
Yeah.
And you've got to love your classroom. Of course, you have to have skills. Skills are extremely important. You know, I walk into so many classrooms. After leaving the school system, I decided that I would tutor. I mean, I would substitute teach because I can't stay away from the children.
Yeah.
I left the school system to start my own business. You know, I went into many different kinds of businesses, but I always connected back to my love for teaching. And I wanted, you know, to be able to share my experience and to share my skills in teaching with other teachers. So I thought substituting would be a good way. And what I would notice is that the environment of the classroom would be just, I mean, nothing on the walls, nothing that says anything about the students around. You know, the first step in being a good teacher is creating an environment of openness. When your children walk in, they should be able to see you. They should be able to see what you are about. You have to be about something because kids are not stupid. And they know if you are just not about nothing, that you are going to display that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you walk into classrooms and the environment speaks, and we have to speak through art and pictures and what we put up on the wall. If we're teaching something in particular, it should be on the wall. It should be creatively on the wall. So my advice, my first advice is get yourself together, learn about what's going on in the world, learn what's going on in the community, and connect with the kids that way and connect with them in terms of the way that you set up your environment.
Yeah, and the environment, it's so important. Thank you so much for saying that, because I came here, as you know, from Haiti, and I said to you, I always say to you, I'm like, self-worth. I'm like, even in my sleep, I couldn't deny who I am. You know what I mean? Because I'm so proud of who I am. But I remember going to Summer High School, and at the time, I have to say, I never experienced bullying or anything like that. But I was taking Latin and I was very good at it. And my teacher really loved me because I'm like, you tell me to do what to do, I just do it. Because just like my parents and my teachers, I felt like if I love and respect someone, I'm just gonna do what they ask me to do. Make it easy on them, right? Yes. So, but I remember one time, and that teacher, I'm not gonna say her name because she's my password for too many things, right? That teacher is so funny. She's my password for so many things. But that particular teacher, she in her class, the very first day of the semester, because I had her for 2 straight years. For the very first day of the semester, she had everybody sign a contract. And that was before bullying became like a big issue and they started talking about it nationally. She had everybody sign a contract saying like, you would respect, you're gonna behave, you're gonna treat your classmates with honor, you know, like you're gonna do this, that, you know, basically rules and regulations for her classroom. Not only did she have that, but she also had like posters all over her classroom. And one of them I still quote today. It was like, in this world, there are 3 types of people: those who watch things happen, those who make things happen, and those who are wondering what's happening. And I remember as a 15-year-old looking and saying, I'm going to be one of those people who make things happen. And then one day, out of the blue, this young boy decided that, you know what, he was going to give me a hard time. And he happened, you know, he was a white kid because my school at the time, Somerville, we were just a few of us. And guess what? I was able to go to my teacher together, me and that young, you know, myself and that young boy, we went before the teacher because I was like, she has a contract and the contract said you cannot treat your classmate with disrespect. So I was able to go to her, and you know what she did? She sat both of us down. We had a conversation. She explained why it was important that we treated each other with respect. And then at the end of it all, he apologized to me for, you know, mistreating me and for saying things about my clothes at the time that wasn't nice. And then that was the end of it. When I was graduated, out of the 2,000 kids in the school, this young man gave me a card, and I think I still kept it for you. And she said, Gabrielle, you're an awesome young person, you know, student, whatever, and you're gonna be doing great things in life. And I still remember that today. So it was because that teacher, she set up the environment. So it's so important that we do that, right?
That's excellent. That's a wonderful example. One of the strategies that I would use with my classes, all my classes, is I would give the students a sort of like a self-esteem paper. And they had to tell me things like, and I gave them a choice. You don't have to write anything down in this paper. If there's a question that you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer it. And, you know, but, you know, we're going to try to get through this and we're going to answer some of the questions. This was my way of finding out who each student was. So I would ask questions like, where do you live? What's your community? Who is the person in your life that you can go to if you need support?
Correct.
Who, questions like, how many friends do you have? These was to help me determine how I was going to teach. Correct. How many A's have you gotten in this subject matter?
Yeah, we're having some technical problems. Can you hear me?
You lost me?
Yeah, a little bit. I hope you are frozen. Okay, I think you're back. So yeah, gosh.
Am I back yet?
Yes, you're back. This is the fun part about doing the show.
Am I back?
You back? And
Okay.
this is the fun part about doing the show because we are online. The internet, there's no guarantee the internet's always gonna work, and that you have to be flexible. My life is all about being flexible. So yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
So I was saying that I asked these questions and then I had them take their answers and turn them into a short essay. And this gave me an opportunity to find out who each student was. You know, we don't find out who each student is. You know, yes, I got answers like my mother passed away. You know, I don't have a dad. I mean, I did get answers. That was very important to me teaching my subject matter. You know, I did not believe in teaching to the top element of the class only. I believed in teaching to the top element of the class, but not only. I wanted to hit those kids that nobody could hit. And that was one of the strategies that I used in the classroom. I became a specialist inside the classroom. And because of that, students, they wanted to be in my class. I was extremely popular for that reason. I was also popular because I loved to dress. So I dressed every day in colors. I was always dynamically dressed. And the students really, I like to do it, and the students really liked it and watched me. And so, you know, children watch you to see if your mood changes, to
Mhm.
see if your clothing changes, to see if they can find your weaknesses and your strengths, you know, and we don't always have strengths every day. You know, I mean, there were days I didn't have strength, but,
Correct.
you know, I kept a certain kind of demeanor, and I was able to, you know, carry that throughout because I tried to make sure that my life was going okay. And believe me, sometimes it wasn't going okay. And that reflects. And you know, some of the things, sometimes when it wasn't going that okay, I would share that with the students
Yeah.
and they would be empathetic. So, you know, being real in the classroom is just really,
Yeah.
really important. But you've got to know how you who you are, and you've got to be strong, and you got to be prepared that not all children are nice. You know, sometimes children say things that really hurt you, and you have to realize that they are children,
Mhm.
you know. And if you work it out, I had a child once who basically wanted to fight me, and I had done nothing. She just needed, I asked her to be quiet or something, and she wanted to fight me. So, you know what I did? At the end of the class, I walked up to her. I said, I am so sorry that I made you say those things to me. I put
Mhm.
it on myself. And after I put it on myself, she was fine and we were fine. It took a minute. In fact, I met her in the cafeteria and I told her that. You know, sometimes we have to understand that children go through a lot
Right.
and they're children. I'm not saying that a child should totally disrespect you, but I was able to get that situation under control in the classroom and handle it outside of the classroom without having to go to the principal. But at the same time, I'm not suggesting that every time you should do that, but there are certain strategies that I learned to do to diffuse any kind of problems that I might be having in the classroom. And I didn't always win. I didn't win all the time, but
Mhm.
I always, you know, got myself ready to get back and do the best job that I could do in the classroom.
Yeah. It's we can go on and on and on about this conversation because for me it's so important because when I see children, you know, we have like five schools here in my community. When I see them, I think about the future because we're not raising children, we are raising adults. We are
Yes.
raising adults. They are gonna be the ones who's gonna be taking on the baton and move on. And if we're not cultivating love and cultivating, you know, goodness and kindness and great things and teaching them and empowering them. What are we gonna have?
Mhm.
Because those mean kids of today, they are the mean kids of tomorrow. So it's so important. And I think my teacher, going back to that particular teacher, what she did, I don't even remember most of what I learned in her class about Latin, but I remember the way she made me feel and
Mhm.
the way I felt in her class um, really has inspired me to treat other people the same way. And that's why I'm always curious about, you know, the idea of getting to know someone. You know, who are you? Because everyone wants to be heard and wants to be seen, right? And when you give them an opportunity to speak up and describe, write about who they are, it really is very empowering. I wish more teachers would do that. It will make a difference because we know that the school system right now is there's so much going on. I know you left the school system. I don't know if it was by choice, but I know I've spoken to so many teachers because of what's going on right now. You know, the mass shooting. In addition to that, they have administrators who are not as you know, willing to help them do the best work.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they're all. So what were some of the challenges that you faced with administration or even this, which made you decide, you know?
Well, the administration, one time when I was teaching, the administration had a contest, had the children decide, you know, who the best teachers were in particular units.
Mhm.
And I was not selected.
Mm.
And I was in shock because I thought I was the best teacher. and I had to go back to school because I said, this is not working, whatever I was doing. I wasn't selected as the best teacher. I was selected as the best dressed teacher.
Oh, wow.
So
Multiple categories.
I wasn't selected because I wasn't mean enough. This is really honestly true. I don't say mean. I shouldn't say mean. I'm not going to say mean. I'm going to say strict.
Strict.
Enough to get the students to sit down and read,
Mm-hmm.
even though they didn't know what they were reading oftentimes. I didn't do that kind of teaching. Those were the teachers that I had. They would give us a book and tell us to read.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't understand the book. Nobody talked about what was in the book. And I had a hard time with that. So I didn't want to do it that way. So when I wasn't selected as the best teacher over a teacher who was stricter, but couldn't get to the students like I did, then I was concerned. I left that school that year and I said, I'm going back to school to learn literacy strategies, how to teach kids, students, how to read and write no matter what I'm teaching. Whether I'm teaching history, English, entrepreneurship, child development, how do I teach them how to write a good essay, a good research paper? How do I teach them how to read, that reading is important? And when I went to Simmons to get my second master's degree, that's what that degree was about. And I had already come up with many strategies myself. The strategy of giving them that, initial questionnaire about who they are and not being afraid to get the answers was one of them. And I learned new strategies. And one of the strategies that I learned was called the MSQCV. It meant main idea, supporting idea, connection, vocabulary, and what's the other one? Anyhow, I had these big signs in my classroom called the MSQCV. And this is because kids have a hard time reading nonfiction, and that's what I like to read the most. I'm not a storybook reader. I'm a nonfiction reader. I want to know the facts. And so I set out to teach my students how to read nonfiction, and I used this particular strategy. So the students would call me the MSQCV teacher. One of them was question, connection, vocabulary, main idea, supporting idea. But you code it like you code, the internet when you're learning coding. So you would take an article, an interesting article, and you would code each paragraph with a little symbol that indicated the main idea, the supporting idea. And so that became my, the thing that I would be known for.
And they love that, right?
Loved doing it because it allowed them not only to read and really get really involved with their reading, it allowed them to do art on their reading. So they would give me their papers. I knew they had read them because they had the main ideas circled. They had the supporting ideas with 3 little buttons on the side with the 3 main ideas. With the 3 supporting ideas of the main idea. And then I showed them how they could take the main idea, take the supporting idea, and make a sentence.
Correct.
And so I had a ball doing that kind of intricate work.
I know for many folks, a show like this might be like, this show here is about let's talk money. And they might say, well, how come you're not talking again about money, dollar and cents, and how to make money, how to flip stock? Listen, I believe in building the foundation. Foundationally, education is at the foundation of it all. I wouldn't be the person that I am today had it not been for great teachers and for my education. And that those are, your education is a transferable skill. It doesn't matter what you want to do. If you have the foundation and you have that education, you can take it. That's why it's very important. I get excited when I meet with a teacher because I know that they are the ones who are impacting lives and making a difference. Ms. Marie Firmin here, she's a change maker, and I'm very excited to have her on the show tonight. But definitely, we are about money, and I know you said that when we were talking, you said, you know what? Once I left teaching, I decided to focus mostly on entrepreneurship and becoming a community leader. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you left,
Okay.
and then the different exciting things that you do every
I
year?
left teaching. All that I'm telling you, I incorporated this in a class that I taught, an entrepreneurship training class that I taught. I incorporated all of these strategies. In my entrepreneurship training class, I had, I love project-based learning. So I always had my students develop projects at the end of the class. But to get to those projects, they had to learn the MSQCV. They had to fill out, information about themselves and who they were. They had to study the content. And I had a theory before I knew that it was a theory that had been written by a theorist of the backwards. You start with what you want the kids to accomplish, and then you develop it backwards. What do they need to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way up to get this thing accomplished? So I would have just about 100% of my students accomplish a project at the end of the year because I planned it that way. It just didn't happen. I planned it that way. And this was back in the day. I know a lot of these strategies are being used in the classrooms now. I left the school department because they wanted me to teach an academic subject. And I had fallen in love with teaching entrepreneurship because my students were blossoming. They were coming to school just to take my class. They were getting out of jail and coming back with their probation officers to take my class. So, hip hop was big. My son was a hip hopper, by the way. And I made him learn entrepreneurship because I knew that just music alone just doesn't get it. And so I left the school department to pursue even a higher, better understanding of what it takes to be a business. And I'm still working on that, to be a business and to be sustainable and to be helpful. And teaching applies there. And so I'm not going to share all of the things that I do, but right now I have 3 companies and about 10 projects that I'm working on. And, I don't have a lot of money, but I do my work because I love it. It's like teaching, and you are teaching when you're teaching entrepreneurship. And I incorporate all of my teaching knowledge in what I do. I've created a website, a directory website for Black businesses, a course for Black businesses, and any business can take the course. And I'm in the process of getting into some other things that are going to help businesses develop capital for their businesses. And, I'm all about business. Just had a really big event and celebrated 28 businesses, had the event last year. We did the same. And
can you tell us a little bit more about that event?
Okay, the event is called Black Biz Ball. And it's a ball. It's a literal ball where you dress up like you're going to a ball, and you're going to come and we're going to celebrate 28 businesses, learn about them, and share them with everybody who comes to the ball. There's going to be lots of connections that will be made as you're all dressed up and sharing your business and sharing, you know, what you're doing. And we have speakers. This year we had Senator Sonia Sanchez. We had Representative, what's her name? Nika El Guado. She actually bought some students, some young men who are incarcerated to the event, who want to start businesses as they make their transition back into society. And the event is really to celebrate these businesses and to raise money for my nonprofit that is to work with incarcerated, post incarcerated youth, high-risk youth, who, you know, don't know what direction they're going to go in. So we're going to train them in the skills of entrepreneurship, because when you're trained in the skills of entrepreneurship, you are actually being trained for a career. You know, you go to your interviews, you have that vocabulary, you have that knowledge, you've experienced what it's like to be rejected. Somebody says no to something you're selling or a service that you're giving, and you become a better person all the way around.
Yeah, I said, let's talk money with friends. We're all about highlighting and supporting community leaders who are making a difference. And definitely, you know, talking to you, I get excited because I know impacting lives, that's what I'm all about, especially young people's lives, because again, they are the tomorrow, you know, they are gonna be our future. And if we don't take care of them today, who's gonna be able to pick up the baton, my friend? Nobody's gonna be available to be, because you see what's happening right now. It aches me when I see what's happening for young people everywhere. So I know that, you know, as a community leader, you are not only mentoring and sponsoring and encouraging folks all the time to do better. If someone is watching right now and said, you know what, I'm interested in entrepreneurship, I would like to learn under an awesome woman like Miss Marie Firmin, how do they get involved? Or are you teaching certain classes? Because I think I had asked you that. Do you have programs online or in the classroom that people can take? Those who are watching right now.
I have a program that is online. It's ebony100.net. That's my training class online. If you think that you want to take it, you should call me, and you can call me at,
maybe you can give them your name, or we can put it on. We don't like to do the numbers, but your email will be great.
Okay, yes. Yeah. M Firmin, FIRMIN 213 @gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll have that.
And I want to make a correction real quickly. I said Senator Sonia Sanchez. She's Senator Sonia Chain Diaz. I always get her name mixed up with the artist Sonia Sanchez, which isn't bad, but I want to make sure I make that correction.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you for correcting that. Definitely, we're gonna add your information, link your websites and different things to this particular video. We wanted to have this conversation again because we believe that to whom much is given, much is required, and so much has been given to us, and that's why we're excited about giving back, paying it forward. I want to encourage my community here, those who are watching now and will be watching in the future, to know that there are resources available. If you have youngsters who've had a hard time, gone through some bad experiences, they don't have to be home and be playing through, you know, games. There are resources available and training available to help them become entrepreneurs. And because learning how to do a job, learning how to create your own job is definitely something that I'm very excited about. And so with the last question that I had, because, you know, we're running out of time here. The last question that I had is, you know, I know as a Black woman, it's never easy, the getting the support, and you talk about the money. How do you go about supporting? I mean, you've already mentioned the ball that you do, but how would you encourage those who are watching to support Black businesses or minority businesses or women businesses? And also, if they are doing businesses, how do they come out and reach out to other people and build a network of people who can support them?
Well, there are several different programs. I do, I'm getting ready to do, I should say, some webinars that are going to be for businesses who are a little advanced. But I would definitely say that, you want to attend networking events that happen. I'm going to be having some during the summer. You can stay in touch with me by going on to my website, which is ebony100.com. Sign up. There's a free option. You can sign up. Even if you have a business idea, you can sign up. You don't have to be a full-fledged business. Sign up on my website so that I can stay in touch with you and so that we can come together. And there are lots of events that are going on where you can be vendors if you have a product to sell. Many of us have services that we are selling. Correct. So I'm available for consulting. I'm available just to have a conversation to help you find some information. The city of Boston is also available. BECMA is available for small businesses. But we are going to be doing some fantastic things this summer and for the rest of the year while we're planning for Black Biz Ball 2023.
Yes.
And, most of our work is online, but I'm available to talk to anyone. Just hit me up, give me an email, and we can have a discussion about what you need.
Yes, you need to stay connected and you need to get involved. I believe in community and I believe in networking big time, because it doesn't matter how much money you have saved. If you don't have support, guess what? You're gonna run out of money, but you can never run out of support if you keep building your support system. So objective of the show definitely was to have this awesome conversation with you, Ms. Firmin, because I believe that, those who are in our community here in Boston or outside of Boston who are doing great things, they should be heard. Other people ought to know about them, so that they can tap into the resources that you are. Great resources and vice versa, because I believe in win-win relationships, right? I want to be able to support to you and vice versa. So yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. And if you
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I appreciate it so much, Gabrielle. It was an awesome show.
Yes, I really had a great time, and there's so much more I could ask, but we're running out of time. But I just want other people who are gonna be seeing this, to the viewers, to stay connected and to reach out, because when you are in business or you're thinking about doing business, or you are someone who's struggling about what do you want to do, it's good to have support system that can help you achieve your goals. And because when you do, I say when you win, we win. We all win. I'm winning. Ms. Firmin here is winning, and we want you to win. So thank you so much for your time. Please don't hang up, Ms. Firmin, but I am gonna turn off this live so we can have a chat. Thank you. Have a blessed night, everyone. Please tag, share, and make a comment, and let your friends know that we are here every Wednesday on Let's Talk Money with Friends. God bless you.